Hello, everybody. It's Richard here. I just wanted to review Poznan, Danzig, and Lodz on my Ultimate Mode playthrough. But I didn't really want this video to be about the exact details of what I did because I think that's a lot less interesting than the methods that I use to try to solve these maps, so to speak. I think that if you're going to try something like this, this insane mode, and even at less insane modes, like when I'm playing when I'm playing my main playthrough with Deductor's mod, Double Rommel, part of the reason I'm having so much success with it is because of a general theory that I have about how to play the scenarios. My technical knowledge of the game is frankly very, very far behind people like Deductor, Goose, Soren, Brakata. There's a lot of mechanics that I do not understand at a very technical level, but I think you don't need to play this game at a very difficult setting, because I feel in my main playthrough I'm showing conclusively that if you have a good strategic plan and you kind of build a core around those strategic ideas, you could be very successful even under extreme pressure and under extreme playing conditions. So, and I don't even think that I have fully explored the game with my approaches. I just think I'm adding other approaches to maps. Obviously, if I'm doing ultimate mode, there's a hell of a lot more I'm going to find out about how to approach these maps. So I think it's less interesting to go, you put a unit on this exact hex and then good things happen. It's much more interesting to talk about my philosophy of how to play this extreme difficulty mode. While I would love to be called a god for my skills, it's really not about that. It's really basic stuff that I'm doing. That I don't see other Let's Players talk about, but I do think that there are people that are not on YouTube that probably do this, and they're too shy to share their results. So, maybe I can kind of speak on their behalf for those people too shy to show their work. So a couple of things to note about my approach on Ultimate Mode is I'm using the Goose rule a lot. So if you didn't see my rules of Panzer Corps, rule number 1 is the Goose rule. It's the rule where you buy a lot of artillery. Artillery is key in pretty much any playthrough of Panzer Corps. But I think in Ultimate Mode, it's the only thing that's going to protect you from death. And having watched some of Soren's playthroughs, I'm starting to realize the full potential of artillery in a way I didn't before. So you're going to see that in these 3 scenarios, I really crank up the artillery. The other rule I found I was using a lot was the Stalin rule, which is the idea that you sacrifice your auxiliary units to achieve an objective, or you just use them to block blows. You use them for whatever purpose you need to protect your core. And I think in the Danzig corridor map, I go really extreme with it, and I think it's necessary. I watched a lot of people play Panzer Corps, and there is this weird, pervasive need to protect auxiliary units that I don't understand. It's probably a sign that not a lot of chess players playing Panzer Corps, because if you play chess at my level, you sacrifice whatever you have to get checkmate. So you don't get attached to your rook or your queen or your bishop. If you have to give that piece up to achieve a goal, then you give that piece up. And that took me a long time as a chess player to learn, because even chess players get conservative with their pieces, and they don't want to make a bad trade. They don't want to give up material. But I have found that as I've gotten much better at chess, I sacrifice material a lot more, and it's actually making chess games a lot easier for me. So you would imagine that I have to try harder in games, but I really don't. I'm actually more relaxed when I play, because I'm not emotionally attached to pieces. And I think the same thing is true in Panzer Corps. I am completely emotionally detached from auxiliary units, and because of that, I will just have them get murdered in the field. I'll run them out of ammo and park them next to a tank. I call it the Stalin rule because Stalin was kind of like that. he got some conscripts. He's like, get out there and get mowed down. So I think you're going to see a lot of that. I think that's important. I have a feeling I'm going to have to use auxiliary units even more than I used them before. The other thing is I need to more carefully look at maps and read marginal victory conditions, because Goose kind of made me look like an idiot on the Poznan map, because I didn't think a marginal victory was possible in ultimate mode on the Poznan map. We can actually start playing this. Because I thought you couldn't take 3 objectives, because there's 4 of them. What I didn't realize is that you had already conquered a city. So when it says take it says take 3 objectives. Oh, this is not. Yeah, this is not the right map. Whoops. Hang on. I am on Lodz. Let me pull up this one. Okay. So I'll let this play. So on this map, it says take 3 objectives. What I didn't realize is that this was one of them. How in the hell have I played Poznan so much, and I never realized that was one of the 3 cities. Now, after I realized that, after watching Goose play, I started to realize, like, oh, this is very possible to get a marginal on. It's still difficult, but it's not impossible. So here, this particular playthrough, I don't think I had to reload at all. But I do think there might be a couple of times when you'll want to reload. And I should mention that Prakata has been a heavy influence on my approach to these maps, because the Manstein effect matters more than the Guderian effect. So I have to be able to defeat units before I can accomplish anything. So on his Manstein playthrough, he bought a 2nd fighter, and I have found that was a very good purchase. In exchange, I could buy 2 7.5 guns with no trucks. Now, you might think that's a disaster, but I don't need the trucks to take the 3rd city, because the 3rd city is 1 unit, so I have a plan for that. The other thing is I shifted my scout car south. Once I realized no airfields had to be taken, then there's no point to be hanging out up here. It's a total waste of time, and it actually reduces the RNG of the playthrough by 90%, in my opinion, because I don't have to reload if I get a bad attack. So, so then I gang up on this plane and I take it out. And then the RNG is here. You need to kill this unit, basically. And because of the fact I don't have to take out units in the north, I can actually use 2 Stukas to help me destroy this unit, which is nice. So so I think the only time you have to reload on the first 2 turns is if you don't kill the fighter or if you don't kill this. I think both of those conditions are necessary for getting through it. In this particular case, I didn't have a problem because I got a good hit from my artillery. So destroying the anti-tank was easy. And I want to do that so I blind the enemy to where I'm moving to. And the only reason that matters is because the fighter can move on turn 2. And I love the scout. In turn 2, the scout has caught up with my units. Here, the fighter actually attacked my fighter bomber. I didn't know that was going to happen. And that was great because I did damage to the fighter. I actually had a chance of taking it out this turn. And I had flown back 1 fighter to refuel, I think. Yeah. So now, this sets up a possible trap of the bomber. So in my opinion, the most important element of this map is owning the Air Force. If you own the Air Force, you should have 0 problems achieving success. In my opinion. Because then your artillery isn't going to get whacked really hard by a plane, which is crippling. And actually, my planes, my Stukas were not very helpful on this map. They basically go back home, and I don't even know if they get another attack. So here, I don't need trucks because these units are slowly moving in, and I plan on holding. I plan on basically building a defensive line, and my artillery taking its time to get here is fine. So, and it's easily going to get in range of this city. This city is what you need to take out if you can. Let's see. Yes, I set a fighter trap. This standard fighter trap has worked every attempt I've ever tried. So, I think all future Poznan playthroughs should use that. It's just really effective. Now I have a chance of taking out that fighter bomber. And I don't know how often you would have to reload there. I think it wouldn't be too often because 2 fighters on a weakened fighter bomber will probably do really well. Oh, and this was a surrender opportunity. I did not plan for that. But the AI just rushed up here, and I was basically like, "Oh, that's awesome!" And I have a weakened unit that I can attack the cavalry with to max out my prestige. As you can see, I have 63 prestige, so it's pretty ugly for me. And then what did I do? Oh, my tank is exposed with no artillery protection, so I damaged the cavalry and pushed it back, so that way only this guy would attack here. Otherwise, if they both attack, this might get destroyed. And then I attack this infantry because I need to move quickly. I didn't, I took some damage. It was bad, but I've also severely weakened this. And I need to take this out as fast as possible. I'm already on turn 5 after the AI's turn. I got extremely lucky with my tank there. You might have to reload if you get really unlucky. Oh yeah, Rudel got 0 XP this scenario. It didn't attack a single unit, which is great. Now I'm just using my fighters because they actually have the range to reach. And my fighters are honestly the only important airplanes until Rudel. Because I have a theory about how I'm going to build the Air Force. You'll probably get a preview of that in my main playthrough because I'm starting to realize I can't afford planes. I'm in 1942 and I'm realizing that planes are too expensive. So, but fighters are absolutely essential. So I don't have a lot to add. This is Goose's plan. He managed to take a few more things, but he's playing without Deductor's mod, so it's a little bit easier. And I ran into unexpected resistance. The tankette up north, because I wasn't attacking up north, it never stayed up there and it came south. So I was wondering at this point if I would have to abandon my attempts to get the marginal. Because I didn't expect this. But what I did instead is I just went around the units. If I fast forward here. Yeah, and then I finish. Yeah, so one of these guys is finished off. That's all that's left of the counterattack. But one of my tanks is basically useless. So I pull it out. Now I'm offering up this tank as some bait. And I just keep harassing these units with my Air Force so I have a chance of not getting one shot by these guys. I knew, I should mention, because I knew the tankette had come from the south, there's nothing up north that can attack a unit in a train. So that was actually free prestige for me. And actually the AI attacked me again, but that was a good thing. So the idea was I was going to move those infantry south to take out that city. But as it turns out, I didn't even need the infantry. But it's good backup. It's nice to see I have some backup if something doesn't go right. And now my Air Force is just like, okay, I can bomb you. This was not a problem to clean up. Good too. It's a good thing too, because I'm like on turn 7. Uh, yep, that guy finally went down. Let's fast forward. So my plan was send all of my armor north, and then use it to attack the infantry in the city, and use my air force to de-entrench. And I had one artillery piece that had a truck. And it actually worked out really well, because I don't care about damage done to my tanks. They're not exactly gaining a lot of experience with field marshal settings. Let's fast forward. We can fast forward. Here we go. So you see I'm starting the attack. I use the auxiliary unit first, which helps reduce the entrenchment. So these guys are garrison units as well. So all the damage I do is really good long term. I don't care how much damage is done to these tanks. I took a massive beating on that Panzer. But now this infantry is extremely weak. Like, I'm not worried about it one-shotting any of my units. And now I can de-entrench. Like, I don't even need this infantry. So, that, you know, you probably could have sent that infantry north to grab an empty airfield very easily. So I have, like, 3 more units that can attack this spot, which is really nice. And then I got the marginal. Okay, moving on. Danzig. I don't have a lot to say. Goose, I basically used Goose's plan, but tweaked it to be better. He went on some adventures in the southern part here that, in my opinion, were unnecessary and potentially risky. You only have 7 turns, so you need to move very, very quickly. And you'll see that I need all 7 turns to get the marginal. I think it's very dangerous. He had more artillery than me because they're cheaper units. So I didn't have as many options as he did. So I had to be very focused on one spot at a time. Now, the benefit of me having 2 fighters is really apparent in this scenario, where I can actually wreck airplanes. And the more damage I do to the airplanes, the better off I am. So that was a bad shot, but, you know, it happens. So the whole point is turn 2, I can kill that aircraft, because it can only reinforce, like 7. So I have a pretty good chance of killing it. I didn't have to reload on this one at all. I did have enough prestige to buy trucks for my artillery. I think that's all the prestige I had had enough prestige to buy trucks for my artillery. So I'm really far behind on the artillery front. So I followed the Goose model here. I think it's very, very good. Just basically, my only objective is to flood my auxiliary units this way to serve as a distraction, to give my core units time to get there. Because this is the hardest objective to take. My other plan, which is better than Goose's plan, is I'm going to bomb this objective with my tactical bombers. And those are garrison units, so they can't actually reinforce. After you take out this anti-tank, the cavalry will move in, and your entire back door is protected. And you can use tactical bombers to bomb the cavalry unit on the riverhead. Okay, so here we go. We see some action. Yeah, I bypassed this. This is an improvement over Goose's plan. This is way too slow. And then I need to plow through this objective because I want to deny vision of my movement to the enemy planes. And that was just a de-entrench. So you can see I'm desperate to crack this position. And it actually worked. Mostly, I mostly wanted to do it just to try to protect myself. I have had my anti-tank to sneak in and grab it. That actually protects my units. So now the AI will concentrate the Air Force on my auxiliary units, which is good. We could fast forward. Oh, I didn't get a good hit here. But the good news is the plane has to fly back and resupply. So not getting a good hit isn't a big deal on this map. I think taking out the first fighter is a big deal, but after that it's not. You can see my tactical bombers are going to be wrecking units on that river hex. And I'm out of vision range, so I can take these pot shots, which is good. So what else? I'm totally cool with that. The artillery is just there for de-entrenchment. I lost my second auxiliary unit here. As you can see, turn 3, the anti-tank is actually destroyed. So this victory hex is in danger. Let's fast forward. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm very aggressive. You could see I'm just like, let's go. I have a scout car over here. So turn 4, I took my first victory hex. Now I have another unit that's on a river hex, so that's easy. That's easy meat. The reason I want to take these so quickly is I need some of my forces to actually sneak in the back at that city. I forget the name of it. I need this objective, so it's going to take a while to dig out, and I'm already on turn 4. So I'm just trying to force units across, distract these units so my main force can get there. Obviously my units located on the river get seriously beat up, but those are auxiliary units. I have elite mountain troops coming in to help me out. Now that the auxiliary units are exhausted, I can start the process of mercilessly attacking that city. I'm also sending my Air Force north to help de-entrench. I think that my playthrough here is a lot more organized than Goose's, because he kind of just does whatever he wants. The scout car is really helpful here, because the scout car can go down there and kill that cavalry unit. And I have to kill that cavalry unit because my tank is on a river hex. And this actually went down, which was nice for me. And so I took 2 objectives in 5 turns, and I'm working on the other one. Here, the AI got confused. It destroyed one of my units. It destroyed the auxiliary unit. Everybody shifted around after that. So, like, the entrenchment level of the infantry went down. And at that point, it's pretty easy because this guy's almost out of ammo. And now I'm just going to de-entrench everywhere. So I ran him out of ammo. So next turn, this guy, he'll get one final pot shot on the final turn. But that's it. And then I can start de-entrenching here. You can see I didn't even care about my tank. I don't care about my Panzer ones. They're there to take a beating. I forced a surrender on that guy, and now I just need to damage this unit, which is going to move into the major victory hex. And that's easy, right? I mean, I'm on the final turn. I'm easily going to be able to take that. And I had blocked this victory hex from this guy with my used up artillery piece. So, you know, I found Danzig. I didn't have to reload or anything. It was pretty easy to get the marginal. You just sacrifice your auxiliary units, basically. So let me open up Lodz. Lodz, you're gonna see that I bought 5 artillery pieces. 4 of them did not have trucks. I sold my tactical bomber and my tanks to pay for this. I don't care about my tanks, and I don't think I'm going to use my tactical bomber. I don't think I have room in my core for it. And marginal victories are significantly easier than decisive victories. And if I'm more careful, then I don't need a tactical bomber, I think. And I also find tactical bombers in the long run aren't worth it. But that's just my taste. So it was a pretty easy sell. So the core idea here at Lodz is I need to move with the same speed up north that I would on Rommel. But with overstrengthened infantry units, that's a lot more difficult. So the plan is to send 4 motorized artillery pieces north to literally dig all of this infantry out, so that way I can conquer these back city road hexes quickly. I don't have a lot of time, so I need to grab the city that's right behind the river in 8 turns, which you can do. I even had a turn of bad weather and still did it. So that's one of the 3 hexes I needed. This one's super easy. I have 4 artillery pieces coming this way. It's not going to be difficult to seize this victory. So this is easy. This city hex. So and I'm also getting my elite mountain troop. So my plan is to use the Richard plan of pulling all the auxiliary units back. Well, let me clarify that. I'm gonna do something crazy with my auxiliary units. I'm gonna send a couple this way to try to outflank, but it doesn't actually work. And then the other idea is to send the scout car to navigate through the minefield with multi-move option and try to sneak the scout car in the back. My objective is to seize this final city on the final turn with a strong scout car and hope it holds out. The other auxiliary units have one job. They're there to absorb blows, and I found that the AI got super confused about what I was doing and seemed to lose track of the fact that nobody was in the city. And you might have to reload on turn 1 if a big hit happens on your scout car. But I had a minor hit, so I didn't reload. It wasn't necessary. This was lucky, I think. Like, the reality is I would probably take more damage. So what you could do is pull the scout car out and then reinforce it with regular replacements. And then you'll have plenty of time to snatch the city, because this is only, you're only on turn 1 or so. So I proceed with the normal plan that you've seen time and time again. This is Lieutenant Joker's plan. And I'm using Goose's general technique of a lot of artillery. You probably have never seen Lodz played with 8 artillery pieces. However, in my opinion, it's necessary. I need 4 artillery pieces that are motorized to go north with speed, and I need 4 artillery pieces to defend against the horde of cavalry and infantry units coming my way. Because if I don't, they're at 15 strength, and they might actually damage my units. So I'm trying to protect them as well as possible. And with that in mind, that's what the other auxiliary units can be useful for, as a major distraction for the enemy to kill. So we can fast forward. We're on turn 3. I'm mopping this up. So by turn 3, you should be able to take this hex with no damage. Like, I think that's not a big deal. And now I'm just pulling units back. The Air Force also is very useful just for some pot shots or de-entrenchment if you need it. I used them up north, actually. That was helpful. I tried to sneak around, my units got destroyed. And there you go. And then the cavalry unit went in the city, and then it went out of the city, and I don't know why. I need an expert like Soren to explain to me why the AI did this, especially since I snatched the airfield turn 4 with my scout car, just because I knew it was empty, and I'm in vision range. So it's not like the AI can pretend I don't exist. So this is just standard. I'm digging them out. This is beautiful, like double artillery, and I think this is an ambush. Or actually, no, I suppressed it perfectly. So I love this. I also put the bait here for the enemy. They can attack this Panzer 1, and that gives me time to weaken them. That was a core part of my strategy. Let's see, turn 5, I need to take these guys out. But with so much artillery, I'm basically guaranteed to take these guys out. So fast forward, like it's not even hard. And here, it's all about using this auxiliary unit as bait and then weakening them with 4 artillery pieces on a unit is pretty good. Let's fast forward. Yep, and I'm just retreating into a little cocoon. And the AI's counterattack is losing steam. This is more bait. As you can see, the AI is like congregating around a southern airfield. And I'm sitting there like, well, if you're all south, who's going to come up north to fight me, right? And then it's raining today, so I can sneak in and get a good view of what's going on. So let's fast forward. I couldn't do much on turn 6. So I did as much as I could, and I knew I had to take those 2 objectives in the next 2 turns. But with my Air Force helping me, because I grabbed that airfield, it wasn't a big deal. Let's fast forward. And turn 7, I easily take this spot, and then I blind them quite a bit by killing that unit. And now I'm just de-entrenching him. All that matters is I de-entrench it so I can easily take that city. And I have a scout car over here. It's turn 7, so now I just want to kill this unit, which I do. Turn 8, I will take that final city, which was pretty easy, actually, because the counterattack was focused on my tank. Here we go to turn 8, and I noticed the cavalry unit's just sitting there with a thumb up its butt. And I'm like, okay, so all my scout car has to do is not retreat from the city. And I think there's a decent chance of that happening. And then my artillery shows up, and I've basically de-entrenched this with my Air Force. So all I gotta do is deliver this blow to take it out. See, the airplanes were really helpful here because I grabbed this airfield. So now it's basically over. And there's basically no response. This guy can't see anything. The cavalry can see this. Right? I'm going to take this unit out. I'm going to retreat him, and this guy, if it tries to go this way, is immediately going to get stopped by my scout. So there's nothing to challenge me here. And this cavalry is going to be distracted by the auxiliary scout unit. And then this was easy. 4 shots of artillery, and I dig them out. This was more bait. There was infantry coming out, but I offered the auxiliary tank did its job. So I'm pretty impressed with my scout car. I didn't have to reload there at all. It just sat in the city. And that's everything. That's all that was all the AI could come up with. So I just snuck the scout in the back, and that was it. All right, that's all I have to say about those scenarios. Richard out.